What's going on, everybody? Citizens of the world, uh, fellow Memphians, also whoever of interest who's of open mind. And this is your boy, friend Tinoco, coming at you from, again, the Volunteer Evergreen Green Line, formerly the rail spur between the um, Sears Logistics Center in the crosstown section of Memphis and the Illinois Central Railroad. But anyhow, so I got to start with something that I've heard said numerous times. I don't think it's attributable by to any one person, but it is true. It is undeniably true. If Mexico were to halt the entry of drugs through its northern border with the U.S., then Americans would hop the fence to go to Mexico to get their drugs. This is undeniably true. Mexico has, in a recent year, 500 overdose deaths compared to, in the United States, over 100,000. So the problem lies in Mexico? Well, I want to be perfectly clear. And I agree with what the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, has said publicly and overtly about it on her mañanera, on her basically the morning press conference that she delivers almost every weekday, that was started in the prior administration. The president gets up and does him or herself the morning press conference. And it doesn't matter who's out there. There are people favorable and unfavorable to the administration out in the who pose questions after the presentations. But anyhow, Mexico does not want American citizens to die by overdose. Mexicans don't want American citizens to die young by anything. Also, Mexico, by the Mexican government especially, and the large Mexican people by and large, as in like 99%, don't want drugs to be trafficked from the United States from Mexico to the United States. However, this problem persists. And second of all, another argument to show that because of the disparity in use between the United States and Mexico, let's say start with 80% of the drug deaths are in the United States. Of the world, 80%, while the United States has less than 4.5% of the population. So we in the United States have about 15 times more our share per our population of drug use. So, I mean, come on. We're the problem. We, the USA, are the problem. And if you don't believe me, consider this. Let's consider countries that are about the same size as Mexico. Let's say Mexico and Ethiopia, the people just switch territories. You'd have what? You'd have Ethiopian cartels to bring drugs into Mexico because the money is just so big, okay? The money is just so big. You'd have, if Mexico and Japan switched territories, right? If all the people of Mexico moved to Japan, and all the people of Japan moved to Mexico, you'd have Japanese cartels. Same way, if Mexico and Philippines flipped land, you'd have Filipino cartels. If Mexico and Russia flipped landmass, first of all, the Mexicans would die of cold, okay? And second of all, you'd have Russian cartels south of the border bringing drugs into the north. If England and France together flipped territories of Mexico. First of all, Mexican food would start sucking, and then you'd have Franco-Anglican cartels. So there you have it. Okay? It's not a Mexican problem. Mexico does more than its part. Mexico can continue to take out cartel leaders. Mexico can continue to patrol the streets. Mexico can continue freezing assets, can continue dismantling labs in the woods. They can do all this. But until we get a control of our addiction, until the United States decides to finally confront the addictions, we're not confronting addiction. If I were to say the Trump administration and the Obama administration and the Biden administration all end to end, if I were to say generalize about them, if I look at the fact that we no longer run national campaigns against drug addiction, we don't have those little commercials about this your brain on drugs, okay, and the like. We don't have our first ladies getting on and say don't do drugs. Seems to me that we're trying to foment addiction in the United States. And given the fact that nobody of the Sackler family has gone to jail, given the fact that there are no bankers that have gone to jail over this because of the money laundering, given the fact that there are very few transportation companies that have gone to jail because from bringing drugs, repeat offending, bringing drugs north through the front door, through ports of entry. I mean, the U.S. is not trying to solve this problem. It's not trying to solve this problem. Furthermore, okay, when you see all these eruptions of violence going up in tourist areas, like Puerto Vallarta and Cancun, tells me that the tourists have a lot to do with bringing the material in the United States. So, I mean, we're not doing our part in the United States. We're not doing our part. And it is the policy of the United States government to not do the part. I will end this on just an appeal to my fellow U.S. Americans. Stop blaming others for our problems. Specifically, stop blaming Mexico for our problems. Stop falling for the tea about Mexico's trying to bring drugs to the United States. Stop falling for the tea that the Mexican government is controlled by the cartels. None of it's true. It's not true. And stop falling for all these grifts, all these people, all these pasty white people who can't put two sentences of Spanish together end to end. And they know all about Mexico. They know all about the cartels. Okay, because they've done research. You don't know shit. They don't know shit. It doesn't matter if they get on guest speaking appearances. You can lie. You can talk about whatever the hell you want. You'll have a willing audience and somebody to pay you to speak to that audience, to dispense your lies. That's how we work with journalism in the United States. It's public relations. We don't have journalism anymore. We have public relations. So think on that too, and put that in your pocket. This is your boyfriend Tanauco, advocating for a policy towards Mexico that actually helps the United States, the people of the United States and Mexico. Talk to you later. Adios.